Welcome to Diz Unplugged, episode 1206, this week of February 7th, 2023. I am your host today, John Panda. Panda. That's what I am. Joined at the table here by Erica.
Hi, friends.
Rhino.
Hi.
Producing.
So if you were just watching this at the beginning, I literally did a test. We tested this to make sure the thing that happened last week wouldn't happen. So I've learned now the problem is in this program, because Craig did this last week, and I tested it when I got here, is when it's live and you play a video and then cut from the video to the live feed, it will stay muted for some reason. But if you're recording only, like we were recording to the desktop, it doesn't do that. And that is the stupidest thing in the world. And this is because this is an update to a program that we use, that we updated right before the last show. So if you were watching for those few minutes, I apologize. And I'm very happy that we caught it almost immediately, that we could just get back on track. Sorry to derail us. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Backing up with Rhino says it was an update. So this is true. Not that he lies or anything. Like, why am I backing up? I don't want to be in that seat. That producer seat gives me anxiety.
It's scary.
It's too many buttons. Anyhow, just to tell you, it's a skeleton crew. Here we are. Craig is ill. He has COVID. He is fine. Wouldn't even know he had COVID unless Kylie made him test. So everybody's fine. Baby's fine. If you're wondering where Pete is, I urge you to go back to show 1203 and hear where he is in his own words. Right in the beginning, he tells you everything, so I don't want to speak for him. Dreams Unlimited Travel is why the lights are on here. Everybody okay?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, yeah. If you are thinking about a trip to go to Walt Disney World, Universal Studios, a cruise, any cruise, not just Disney, get yourself a Dreams Unlimited travel agent at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Even if you're on the fence, just for them staying on hold for you can save you so much time, and you're going to still get a better price probably. They know all the specials that are going on. dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. How you doing, Erica?
I'm good, actually.
You're usually not good?
Last week I said, I'm good, but I haven't been going to the gym, so I haven't been feeling myself. But I went to the gym twice, 2 days in a row. Going to try to go back again today. And after my first time back, I was like, wow, I feel alive. I feel like a brand new person. So I'm in a really good mood right now. I'm happy. And that's what's important. How are you doing?
You know, I also did a workout. And I'll get to Rhino in a second, what he's doing. But I did a workout, weights, and then I did the elliptical. I thought I was okay, but then I walked like Jack Sparrow. My calves were giving out, and I was like, this isn't fun. Rhino, since you started the whole how are you doing thing, how are you doing?
Well, I haven't. So I went home to surprise my mom for her 60th birthday party. And I just realized she wanted me to stop telling people how old she is. But I said the 30th anniversary of her 30th birthday party. But it went great. It was wonderful. I experimented with trying not to take Dramamine on an airplane back, and that was a huge mistake. So last night I was not feeling great, nor was I this morning, but thank you for this peppermint tea. I unfortunately, I feel bad for Craig, and I just man, it takes one comment to really flip your switch and make you so angry. And there was somebody who made a really not awesome comment in this chat already, and I don't usually call people out, but I just
do it.
I know the people will already handle it, but whatever. So now I'm already in a weird funk, and so I apologize about that. I hope it'll turn around today, as we've got plenty of interesting things to talk about and things like that. But honestly, being home, seeing my family, that was that was really something I needed to be able to do, because it was just me, and just family. I didn't tell anybody I was there or anything, and so it was. It was good, and I got some cold weather. It was negative 10 degrees one night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did it feel different, like negative 10?
Yeah, I mean, it was cold. There's no question it was cold, but honestly, unless the wind is blowing, it's really not, super bad for me up there. I think it feels physically colder here when it's, 35 degrees or 40 degrees than it does when it's there, when it's, 10 degrees, because it was still manageable, but it was also, I know a lot of people lost power, not where we were, but it was okay. It was just weird, because then the other day I was there, it was 50 degrees. So I was like, enough, make up your mind.
This might be This might be a dumb question.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know anything about snow, but was it snowing?
No, it had snowed at some point, so there was like it was like, oh, there was some over there, but it wasn't like
Look over there.
not at all. I know it wasn't. I would have liked some, but it didn't, and that's okay. That's all right.
At least it was cold.
Yeah.
Aren't there parts of the United States like -100?
Oh, that is Mount
-100.
Washington was -101 with the wind chill.
Yeah, -101
on that night
with the wind chill.
Yeah, insane.
But even without the wind chill, it was probably like -50.
It yeah, I
No,
think it
thank
was
you.
it was that. It was like -50 or 60 or something
I will
like
be
that.
staying in Florida. Thank you.
Just a reminder that after this show, we do our Patreon after show. You can go there right now. Rhino, I may need your help. It's patreon.com/DizUnplugged.
Yeah, yes, it is. Sorry.
Okay, and any tier of the Patreon gets you to our after show where we just, God knows what we talk about. Sometimes we talk
Ramble.
about things
I'm going to
I
say a
don't-
lot of bad words today.
Good. There's sometimes we talk about things like I don't even know. Like sometimes if Rhino gets into Marvel, if it's not a show I know, I'm out. But but it seems like we have stuff today that we know
Yeah.
what to talk about. So also, this is a very heavy show with information. We're going to try to make it fun. Let's just start. Pre-pandemic housekeeping returning to Walt Disney World resorts.
Amazing.
Thank God. Okay, let me just read. Let me read, and then we discuss. Walt Disney World has announced that by the end of February, full housekeeping room cleanings will again be available at all resort hotel rooms across the property. Depending upon where you're staying, services are provided daily or every other day. Full room cleanings include everything you expect, from replacing towels, amenities, to cleaning the bathrooms, making the beds, emptying trash, and recycling. I was good. I read tickling the room. It's tidying the room and vacuuming. Although you give your room a little tickle on the couch, should you desire. So yeah, I just feel like this is late in coming. I understand staffing, but that's what I expect from paying these, for a luxury resort at Disney or any resort for that matter. What do you think?
No, I'm happy it's back because I know for a lot of people they missed having housekeeping coming in. There's something about coming back from the parks and having your bed made and having your towels folded. So I get it, and I'm glad that this means there's enough staff to make this happen. That means they've been hiring people, which is awesome. So I'm happy. I'm happy about it. It's a good thing.
Rhino, what do you think?
I don't care. No, I'm just
No,
kidding. I do agree with Erica in terms of it. You know, the more services that are offered, the more employment, more people that can come back to work. So that's always good for that. But what was I going to say? I'm not like when I go to a hotel, and Craig will attest this. I don't really have the person come in every day. It's one of those things where if I'm there for only like 3 days, I honestly don't really need them. But if it's like 5 or 6 days, it's kind of like you do want a little bit of that refresh, like halfway through that. But I don't need someone like since I have so much travel anxiety, I'm very meticulous in terms of like packing and then like laying things out and where they are. And so like when, and dealing with sloppy roomies sometimes, he knows who he is. And having to,
You and I were alike. When
keep
we
him
roomed.
alive. Oh no, we were. Yeah.
When we roomed on the cruise, I'm a lot like Rhino without telling people that I'm OCD meticulous, but I do keep things in a certain area. And throughout my life, I've roomed with a lot of people when I was a travel agent back when I was, in my 20s. And, there are sometimes you don't need somebody to come in and clean the room. Or you get nervous that you have to clean up your room before they clean because
Right.
you don't
Yes.
want...
I'm this person. When I recently went to Georgia on our last day, I took off all the bed sheets and put them to the side and moved all the dirty towels to one area, like to try to make their lives easier. I'm just that person. Are you guys the people that like unpack your bags and put it in the drawers?
I
Me
do.
too.
Craig makes fun of me. This is why Craig and I think room together so well, though, is because we're like this yin and yang. So he's a little like, I don't know. There's a part of me where it makes me feel better where I'll be like, I feel like I'm keeping him alive a little bit. But then he also knows how to get me to like move faster and get out of my funk or whatever, when I get like have my little anxiety problems or whatever and stuff. So he's a good person to room with, but it is one of those funny, like I will be like, hey, we got to call somebody in on like day like 4 or 5. I'm like, it's getting bad. But
On the last cruise that I was on, I was by myself, and the lady who was taking care of housekeeping said, wow, your room, I don't have a lot to clean. I said, yeah, thank you. She goes, you're a clean guy. And then I looked at the room next to me, and she looked at me like she wanted to cry, and I looked in, It was a disaster. I don't know how she could clean up somebody else's stuff like that. It was crazy. So it's a thing. All right, so housekeeping service coming back. Now, this next topic confuses the heck out of me. Not going to lie to you. If you're looking for clarity, don't come to me. I'm going to read you and give you my opinion.
Clear
I
as
don't know what's
mud.
going on. The latest update on the Reedy Creek Improvement District. If you recall, that was Ron DeSantis was dissolving the thing that let Disney self-govern the Reedy Creek. The bill, HB 9B, Orange and Osceola counties has been filed. This bill proposes changes, including renaming the district, instead of Reedy Creek, to Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. The bill will be discussed in a Florida House State Affairs Committee hearing on Wednesday and is expected to be debated by the full legislature later this week. Eventually, a version will be brought to DeSantis for his signature. The basics, I'm going to skim them a little quicker than usual because they don't make a lot of sense to me. This bill proposes a board of supervisors that will consist of 5 members appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. It also states that no person who has worked for a theme park or entertainment complex within the past 3 years can serve on the board. So let's have the decisions made by people that don't actually do anything in the theme park. It clearly states Reedy Creek Improvement District is not dissolved as of June 1st, but will continue in full force under its new name. Okay, so something. So we're not. This is a way to not do it. And okay, well, let me read it and then we'll discuss. The governor appoints all 5 board members. The current board has 5 members, and they give their names. I don't think we need that. The bill also states members may not serve more than 3 consecutive terms. Current board member Greer has been on board since 1975.
Good Lord.
Good Lord. For a transitional period, for no longer than 2 years from the effective date of this act, the district may continue doing business using Reedy Creek Improvement District as a fictitious name to provide sufficient time for the district to make the necessary change. Scott Gustin pointed out on Twitter, this will most likely head to court because the bill is ultimately taking away the voting power of landowners in the district. Disney's right to elect representatives is likely stronger than its right to a special district. He backed it up with an article from Bloomberg that points out if Florida would just dissolve the district, Disney would have less of a fight besides unconstitutional retaliation from protected speech in violation of the First Amendment. But if Florida tried to replace it with state political appointees, the situation would go from the state managing its own subdivisions to the state taking away a landowner's right to vote for its local representatives. An action court are much more accustomed to stepping in to prevent. Disney is taking this in stride, about the only thing they can do right now, with Jeff Vail issuing a statement saying, this is Disney's statement, "We are monitoring the progression of the draft legislation, which is complex given the long history of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Disney works under a number of different models and jurisdictions around the world, and regardless of the outcome, will remain committed to providing the highest quality experience for the millions of guests who visit each year." So, again, not understanding a lot of this, it sounds to me like they're backpedaling, taking away the entire Reedy Creek District, maybe because of all the taxes that Orange County will then owe instead of Disney. It just, I don't know where it's going to go.
What I got from that?
What do you get?
What I got from that is new name, not fully dissolved, and people who don't know anything about theme parks will be sitting on that board.
Or people who want to punish you are sitting on
Yeah,
that board.
that's all I'm getting from that.
Did you get that, Ryan?
I'm just rereading the first part here because I did read it earlier, but I'm trying to do like 5 things at once, so it's jumbling in my brain. But the bill proposes a board of supervisors that will consist of 5 members appointed by the governor and confirmed by the state. It also states that no person who has worked with or for a theme park or entertainment complex within the past 3 years can serve on the board. That part is
ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense because the people who know the needs of that park, like, it could have been somebody going to school for this sort of a thing, and then they've graduated, and they have to wait 3 years to get a job. This job, I don't know. It's like sort of bizarre, and it's another thing where it's like daddy knows best when daddy doesn't know anything about what they're talking about. Because why in God's name would the governor pick the people to do this? That's the only part. It's just kind of, I don't want to say too much about it because I'm just not in the mood to listen to other people.
And I don't know if I'm reading it correctly, but it seems that they're saying that this is actually worse for Disney than if they would have just dissolved it. Because the people then making the decision.
Yes, because now it's going to be people that don't know what they're talking about or doing, or other people that. But if the state confirmed by the Senate, I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I'm also not an expert in this sort of a thing, municipal law and stuff like that. I don't know if you know this. I went to school for a creative bachelor in arts, but it just sort of sounds like there, like you said, the backpedaling, where it was kind of like, I don't think anybody wanted this. I think it was just something for people that aren't from this state to, it was being used for another purpose, for grandstanding. And Florida, Walt Disney World is the largest employer of people in Central Florida, right? Maybe the whole state. I'm not 100%.
I think it's the whole state.
It has to be, right? Because it's more than 65,000 people, and it's just one of those things. But then also, Walt Disney World is responsible for the development of the state. There was nothing here, even before the 50s. But I mean, they started once Walt Disney World was here. It brought in the tourism industry. It's not Miami that already had that in the port and everything going for it. Central Florida didn't really have a lot going for it. So this is the reason why Florida is whatever these people dream it to be today. And so that's the part where I was like, and I'm not saying that Disney should be able to act without consequences, because obviously if they're doing stuff that's harmful to people, harmful to, the environment, stuff like that, exactly, that definitely needs to be kept in check. And, shady stuff, they need to be paying people living wages and things like that. And, so I'm they're not above the law, but it's also one of those things where, if these other... I'm not sure who OSHA is that who was brought in after the accident,
Yes.
And stuff like that, things like that. The stuff needs to be checked in like that. But in terms of putting somebody in here who I don't know, it is very complicated. You're right, and I think it's intentionally extra complicated now for that reason too, where it's kind of throwing a stick in the machine and then being like, well, it didn't stop, but it's kind of a little bit messed up, and so. I both succeeded and didn't succeed, because there can't be failure on one side of this until probably after 2024. So that's where I'm it's frustrating. It's frustrating for the people who actually live in the state.
Yeah.
I know it's people who are watching this and everything are fans of the show and things like that, but this is something that legitimately affects the business in this state for the people that live in this state. So when you live in this state, that's when we get to all have the actual opinion that matters. Specifically the people who live in counties affected by this and the people that are employed, that this would change results for them like that, I think,
I feel like Bob Iger needs to sit down with DeSantis.
Yeah. I mean, as someone...
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like that would solve things.
I doubt it would, but I think it would be a start of some. I think
the punishment was meant for Chapek. I think
people do not talk to each other enough. I think that's the ultimate thing of this, is that people, I wish, would be more civil with each other and just have discussions.
Yeah. As someone who studied hospitality management, I would have liked to see, I would love to see more hospitality leaders in that position and be on that board. Because someone that studied that, I would have loved to have an opportunity to do that. I mean, I'm too young, whatever. But someone like
build
me.
A mountain and we can't now because they decided these people we can't build a mountain. Come on.
Yeah, I just feel like I would love to see hospitality leaders part of it. But there's that whole thing, you can't have been working in theme parks or entertainment or anything for that amount of time, which I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me. And that could just be because I studied it and I love hospitality.
I can't imagine what the negative would be if you worked in theme parks to be on that board.
It's because you would understand what's actually going on. I think they don't want people that understand what's happening within the industry to be in that.
I think part of it is you have to think about it in terms of somebody feeling excluded, going to a friend's work party, and it's all their work friends, and all they talk about is work, but you're there to have go to a party, you don't really understand what they're talking about, so you can't really participate. It makes you feel like you're not one of the friends, you know what I mean? So it's that
does make some sense.
That's my sort of takeaway from it, is that kind of It's like when you try to read something from a law book or a medical journal, and you're not a doctor or a lawyer.
So just have everybody.
And you're offended by the jargon that's used in it, and you're like, well, it's not really meant for you. It's meant for the doctors and the lawyers. Yeah. So it's one of those where I don't know. Whatever. Is there more things to talk about? I mean, are we not talking about this? I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, that's fine.
I meant like I don't want to keep. I personally will get stuck repeating myself.
I agree. Okay. So you did mention wages in your in what you were saying.
Yeah.
There's a new contract offer rejected by Walt Disney World workers. In reading this, I think they're coming up to an agreement soon. It sounds like they're getting close.
Did you read the Jeff Valley statement?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I missed that part when you were reading. I'm sorry. It was just double checking.
We're just saying, no matter what we do, we're going to give you a great experience, and don't worry about this, basically, to the public.
Okay, sorry. Go on, because the other one, the next topic also fascinates me.
Yep. New contract offer rejected by Walt Disney World workers. Walt Disney World employees have rejected a new offer presented to the unions that represent 32,000 workers, including attraction operators, performers, housekeepers, hospitality. Now, wait, the fact that they have 65,000 employees, but this is only 32,000, is it because it's only full-time that is in the union?
Yes.
There's only certain roles that have unions, I believe.
I thought all roles had unions, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But not all employees are in the union because you're not required to be in a union when you work for Disney. And I do believe it is just full-time people. Also, just really quick, because I meant to mention it before we moved on, but it's included in this as well. And it got put out like right before we started here. Variety just put out an article about what's going on, because there's an earnings call today or like tomorrow or the next day. I couldn't remember the date. But Iger is going to have to address like a lot of the things we're talking about today. But Variety kind of broke down this situation, talked about this situation, and talked about the Reedy Creek district, and kind of laid down a little bit of the event. I thought it was a pretty good, solid article in terms of like.
Did they seem like they were coming to an agreement?
No, it was literally just kind of the thing where they were like, this is what Iger did before JPEG, this is what JPEG did, this is what Iger did. So it was kind of just a laying down of these events. It's a very easily digestible article. But anyway, yes, go on.
So
32,000 workers, yeah.
Approximately half of all Disney employees are in this union, including attraction operators, performers, housekeepers, hospitality and retail workers, transport workers, and custodians. In a decisive vote of 96% against, Disney employees responded to a new 5-year contract deal that Disney described in a statement as a nearly 10% an average raise immediately, as well as a retroactive increase in pay in their paychecks, and we are all disappointed that those increases will now be delayed. Union negotiators are demanding an immediate $3 an hour raise, so I'm assuming that they're at 15, that would make it 18, I might be wrong about that, which would be about 20% pay hike for the 75% of workers, yes, now earning $15 an hour. The union and rank-and-file members say workers wouldn't be able to afford to live in Central Florida under the company's offer. The company, which had described its rejected proposal as a very strong offer, said that 46% of cast members would have gotten more than $1 an hour raise in the contract's first year, and that the majority of employees would have received raises totaling 33 to 46% during the life of the contract. I mean, it's only going to get better from there if they can agree for the next one. But it sounds like they're getting close to me. I think, from my friend that I talked to, a couple of cast members, I think they're getting close. $20 an hour soon, like in 5 years from now? What do you think?
I think it needs to be sooner than that time period, just because things are getting really expensive in Central Florida and in the state in general, and everywhere. I ain't got no 5 years.
To tell my landlord, I'll pay you soon.
But I would like to see it go up to 18 at least sooner than later, and then work their way to 20 within like maybe the next year and a half, 2 years. They do a lot. These cast members, they do so much. So I think that would be really nice if they could come to an agreement soon, and maybe not one that will take 5 years, but maybe let's think 3. Let's compromise a little bit. Let's think 3 instead of 5.
Come back with.
So let's see. What do you think right now?
I don't know. Somebody just said I've been too negative in here, and so now I'm negatively responding to that. I am all over the place today. Well, here's the hard part. As somebody in this room and in this company who has worked for Disney the longest, I am going to have something negative to say right now. So unfortunately, I'm just falling right into this trap right now today.
You weren't very negative that I thought in the first half, so Get that out.
So here's the thing.
Let it out.
In my time at Walt Disney World, I went through several union negotiations. I wasn't like a shop steward or anything like that, but I pay attention to that because it affects us all. And what I noticed in my tenure there is that, the goal is always to take more and more away because they want to make more and more money. So like when I had started, they had just done a new union where before they used to do this thing where if you had worked in your role for X amount of years, you'd immediately go to the top of your pay grade for that role if you hadn't gotten there already, right? So that's what like kept you going, you'd be like, oh, well, I'm 2 years away and I'm going to make, and that in 2 years from now, I'm going to get like a, X amount of dollars an hour. So that was cool. And then they had one that happened, like a couple, like a year, I can't remember the specific years. Like I saved all my stuff. It's in a box somewhere so that someday I can go back and remember all these dates and write about all this time and everything. But, and so I don't have to listen to all these people rip me apart. So, the one that got me is there was they'll do a lot of things where they're kind of like, sign this now, look how good it looks right now. But the thing is, in 4 years, it's not good. Like it's always great today. Like they would do a thing where they'd say, okay, if everybody signs this bonus, if everyone signs this contract, if we get this contract put through, every single cast member is going to get a $500 bonus in their paycheck next week. And then stuff like that goes through. But in the end, that year, what they don't see is that, the flat raises were 4%, went down to 3%, and our health insurance over the next 4 years increases by 1% each year. So but by 4 years from today, even though you got $500 extra dollars in your check today, 4 years from today, you make only 19 cents more on the dollar than you currently did. Explain to me in what world that's okay, that you're a full-time employee and 4 years later you only get 19 more cents a dollar. First of all, I think every company should be giving people raises every single year to keep up with the cost of living, because I hate to break it to you, that's what it costs you to run a business, is to treat people with that sort of respect. Because here's the thing, that anybody that feels down who's in the front line, you're not lucky to have a job. That company is lucky to have you. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're flipping burgers at McDonald's or you're literally just, whatever you're doing. If you are working 40 hours a week, that should be enough money for you to live off of. That is a full-time job as defined by all the people we voted for in our lives and whatever came before us, we're all different age groups in this room right now. But it's just one of those things where it's so frustrating to me that people look down on certain types of jobs, but are also partaking in that thing. Like those people who make fun of people that work at McDonald's and make those burgers, and I'll be like, you're the one in the line getting the burger. But anyway, Disney is my problem with that is that, one, that doesn't keep up with the cost of living, but it takes advantage of these people that some people are young, some people are older, some people aren't super educated, and you're taking advantage of those type of people. You know what I mean? Like the young kids that are there and they just need something to get by to get them through in school. The older people that are there on retirement, especially and the people that aren't overly smart in a traditional sense of a way. I mean like educated. I didn't mean smart. Everybody's smart, and it's just one of those things that Disney kind of does that stuff. And this feels, people are going to say, wow, $15 an hour. Wow, $20 an hour. I hate to break it to you that the whole trick is that we only talk about that small amount of money. We don't talk about how much rent increased. We don't talk about how much eggs, milk, groceries, all that stuff costs. There's no way right now. Erica's 100% right. That money won't matter by then if we're on the same trajectory that we're currently on. And it needs to be examined as what is the livable, what do you need to make per year living in Orlando, or Central Florida, whatever, what do you need to make a year in order to live? You know what I mean? And I'm not talking survive. I'm talking about what do you need to live? And I looked it up right around Christmas, and I think it's almost like $38,000, which is a lot lower than it is in a lot of space, especially somebody from Massachusetts who it's like, what? But there's just a thing where I think people are kind of delusional and stuck in the past and think X amount of dollars is enough. I have enough. You don't need this much. It's always the people who have the most that tell the people who are the least when it's too much.
I was
just sorry. I don't mean to be like, preach it.
Listen, I'll preach it. I was just going to say, people are going to say, but don't you realize that
Oh,
Oh, Siri is.
Siri's chiming in on the conversation.
Oh, we got Tim Cook in the room.
So, yeah, right. They're listening. The people are gonna say, "Oh, do you realize that when you pay more, the prices are just going to go up, and it's a cyclical thing. You're just going to have
But
more.
they're
The
already
prices
going
are
up.
already.
Yeah.
That's the
They're
thing.
already going up.
I have friends that live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and the rent is $2,000 a month.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And for a 1-bedroom, it should not be that. When I first moved to Orlando, it was like $1,300 for a 2-bedroom apartment, and now we're looking at $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. It is not feasible for people to live on their own anymore. You will have to have a roommate, or you're going to have to find a partner that wants to split rent with you. And that is the part that gets me frustrated, because then that's how you end up with people not having a place to live. And everyone should be able to just have a place to live so that they can go to work, they can come home and have food on their table.
Now,
that's
growing up, I had like a little menial.
Somebody did the math. I'm sorry. Somebody did the math in the chat for me, I think, and they said $38,000 a year is $18 an hour.
Yeah.
So my point being that $38,000 a year was the number for last year. So
Right. In 5 years from
they
now,
should
that's
already
not
be
right.
making that, because there's no sign of this rent hike, all these things, and I just really hate the thing where people are like, well, pull back. You don't need a phone. You don't need this car. You don't need things. Like, I hate to break it to you, but not everyone has to be driving a 1985 Toyota Corolla with 400,000 miles on it with a flip phone. You are allowed to have some things in your life. And also, we live in the modern age. The phone is a necessity. And I'm not
That's how
saying
you
we
check
need
your
the
work
brand new one
schedule.
every time, but you use it for everything. You literally use it to pay for stuff. Like, and that's it drives me crazy. And I'm so sorry to be so negative about this, but we have to be louder about it, and that is the problem. We have to be louder, and we have to be in support of these people. And I think one of the problems is and I have this conversation with my own family, my mother, this and that, and my mother did a lot as a single mom, and but I also think to myself, like, the house was this amount of money, and she'll be like, well, I only got paid this amount of money, and I'm like, but Mom, that's not how it works. And that's the trick. That's the trick that keeps us all fighting amongst each other instead of fighting together. Remember, people, we're all in this together.
Yeah,
High
and when
School Musical,
people
baby.
Yeah,
at
we're
the top are
all
getting
in
$50
this.
million bonuses, and you realize one of those bonuses could pay for the raise. The argument falls apart there. I know.
Yeah, and it's obviously a bigger problem that's not just prevalent in Florida. This is
it's a
a
whole-
national thing,
Yeah.
and we're not the only place in the world that's like that. But it's annoying because I don't know how many times this show I'm going to say it. Florida, Walt Disney World. I'm going to say it wrong every time too. Walt Disney World is like the largest employer of these people, and they really have an opportunity if they want that Disney difference that everybody says is missing, and this thing and that thing. There's a lot of stuff I can't hear. Like I can't. I lost some hearing working for this company. Like, I think about stuff where it's like like we weren't used to allowed to stand under umbrellas. And even in the summer, like, I remember I had a manager who just was like, no. And I'm like, no, we were part of the people that put this in. It's for us because it's so hot out here and there's nowhere to stand in the shade. It's not for you need to whatever. And it's just like people that like the toll it takes on you. It's not just here and now. It's you are giving a piece of yourself to this company. You are making an agreement and saying, I'm offering my services. This is the rate. So I think Disney has this opportunity. And I'm not saying Disney is like Ebenezer Scrooge or anything like that.
I think they're already better than most of Florida, I think. Right? I mean,
I wouldn't say that, but yeah. I mean,
with
I
their
think
pay structure,
I don't think they're also the worst.
Above,
yeah.
What the minimums.
Yeah.
More than others.
And on the flip side of that, there are, things like the union sometimes keep a lot of cast members that should have been, gotten rid of a long time ago or still around and that sort of a thing. So, it's a double-edged sword. Everything is not black and white. Most things are a gray topic, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how Universal does it. I can't speak to that. This would have been a great thing for Craig, who
Don't
would
they
be a
usually
little more
copy
familiar
each
with
other?
that. But
Like Universal.
ticket prices, but I don't think in terms of how they treat their employees.
But no pay, right? Right now, isn't Universal the same?
I think when Disney first made the jump, Universal and SeaWorld both followed in increasing their pay, but I don't know if it went to the same level. I was working at SeaWorld when it happened, and they gave me, instead of $10, they're like, ooh, $11 an hour. I was like, wow, I can go to Taco Bell. But I know that they both wanted to come to the same level in a way to say, look, we are also going to increase. I'm not sure how much they did because I knew people that worked at Universal, but I haven't asked them what's going on now. So I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I also just want to chime in because, I want to make sure that we're involving people who are watching live as well as much as we can, whenever we can. And you guys are a wealth of knowledge and resource as well, even the ones that are calling me bad things. But you give me the fire to keep going. So, somebody just was curious about who on the panel today owns their own home. Unfortunately, I am somebody that fell into... I was 18, made some mistakes that destroyed my credit. It wasn't even anything. It was literally a $150 credit card, basically ruined my life. And I then went to college and to finish my schooling, I only did subsidized and unsubsidized loans, but it ended up right now the loans with the accrued interest is $80,000. And so I don't make enough money. My debt to income ratio is too high for me to qualify for anything that is even remotely purchasable. Really.
You were close at one point.
I was so
I remember.
close into like 2019. I could have found something that was semi decent, and now it sucks. And you know what? And those are decisions I made. I wish I had been more educated on a lot of this stuff when I was younger. But I also, we all make mistakes, and, it takes as long as it takes to fix those mistakes. But Erica, you own your own home, yes? And so, Panda, you do as well, right?
Yeah, luckily, when I met my wife, when we had just started dating, we both found out that we had started saving money since we were younger. We both started, my dad had a savings account for me since I was 5. He would only put like $25 in there every once in a while. But when I got a job, when I got right out of high school, I had to work a job I hated, but I needed to support being able to dance full time also for my college.
You can dance.
And so I started putting away 30% of my paycheck into a savings account. I didn't know my wife back then, but she was doing the same thing. So when we came together, we were fortunate enough to have a good amount of savings, and I'm also very privileged and thankful to have the mom that I have, and she's the only reason I would have been able to buy this house with my wife, because she helped us with our down payment. She said, your grandfather did the same for me. I want to do that for you. And awesome. I am forever grateful for her, because I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. We had enough to get by, but that would have meant that all of our savings would have been gone. So I'm very thankful for that. Because without her, I wouldn't have a home. And she saw the stress we were going under with our apartment and the leasing people. There was a lot of drama going in, and the nickel and diming within the apartment world was a lot, and the maintenance wasn't taking care of anything we needed. So I'm very thankful for that. But being able to do that meant I had to leave where I was really comfortable. We had to leave outside of our area. We had to move a little further out of the Disney bubble to be able to afford something and to be able to get the help that we could as first-time home buyers. It was hard too, because we both have student loans. We went to college for hospitality, so we ended up having loans, which is another reason why we needed my mom's support. So it's a lot. There was a lot of factors that went into it, but
this is a whole
I'm just
separate show now.
But I'm just so grateful for it, because it's expensive to buy a house.
And I'm only patting myself on the back. I don't usually do this because the chat room asked. Yes, I was in my early 30s. I had saved up a little bit of money in New York for my own business after I was a travel agent. Couldn't buy a house in New York, but bought one here in Florida. And at the time that I did it, they were like, for $220,000, you got an amazing house here in Florida. Whereas that's not the case anymore. The house is now 500-something thousand. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I do own my own home.
Yes, unfortunately, I had a single-parent household and had to start working when I was 14 to pay for everything. Not everything in my house, but I didn't have that. I was very fortunate in terms of being cared for, like with my grandparents and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it's been I guess this should be another
We need another whole show.
This is
then,
our.
'cause I could talk forever.
This is
about
for our biographies. I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
For all of our biographies. But we have a bunch of other stories. So
Let's get back to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They now
Ooh.
released new story details. I have definite feelings on this, but let me read to you. Disney Parks blog released new details for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the Splash Mountain redo. But another intriguing aspect of the story is Blog Mickey spotted Imagineers touring Pecos Bill and suggested the rumor that maybe Pecos Bill could be rethemed to something for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The new details are based around food and the attraction, so there's a compelling case to be made for changing Pecos Bill to tie in with Tiana. I was expecting Tiana's Palace, but apparently that's not the story here. Here are the new details. One of the most exciting parts of Tiana's Bayou Adventure is that we're going to see where Tiana's life has taken her following the success of Tiana's Palace, a restaurant she had dreamed of owning, working so hard to make come true. Walt Disney Imagineering is creating an original next chapter story for Tiana. Within the attraction queue, guests will discover that she continues to grow her business with Tiana's Foods, an employee-owned cooperative. Combining her talents with those of the local community, Tiana has transformed an aging salt mine and built a beloved brand. Speaking of which, the salt mine, they do have some about the size of Splash Mountain in Louisiana, so that's a way to tie in the mountain, the salt mine.
Oh, love that.
The endeavor began when Tiana purchased the salt mine and the area surrounding the large salt dome it operated from. With the help of her mother, Eudora, Naveen, Lewis, and fellow owners of the cooperative, Tiana revived the old salt mine and surrounding land, growing a wide array of vegetables, herbs, and spices for her recipes. This multifaceted enterprise has turned the aging salt mine into a space that has come alive. Complete with a boutique farm and both a working and teaching kitchen, Tiana's Foods is where Tiana and her colleagues, it's basically the Food Network. She's making the Food Network. Tiana wants to give a big thanks to her family and friends and the entire community for all the support they've been giving by throwing an amazing party during Mardi Gras. When it turns out there's been a bit of a mix-up with the party preparations, Tiana invites us to meet her at Tiana's Foods to help with the missing ingredient for the party. When we arrived, we may see that Tiana spruced up the company's facilities with the vibrant art from local artists. Again, this is the ride now, I think, right? They're not talking about Pecos Bill here.
No, this is the ride.
Okay. Food in the party is being prepared and beignets are being loaded into the crates for the celebration. You know we got to get beignets somewhere there, right? Okay. All kinds of preparations are underway for the journey into the Bayou with Tiana, along with new and familiar friends from the animated film. Picking up where the story left off, Tiana continues bringing people together with Tiana's Foods, another treasured meeting place to spend time together and celebrate a diverse community. Tiana is also working with cooperative members to teach gardening and cooking to children of all ages and inspiring other women to run successful businesses as the brand grows nationwide. I like that story.
We love people who give back to the community.
Yeah, but here's my problem with it. I feel like with Galaxy's Edge, remember they went for a new Star Wars story so that you could make yourself be a part of it, but people wanted the old story and the old characters and the old stuff. People would have loved to have visited Jabba's lair and stuff like that. With this, I'm wondering, I know I would have been fine if the ride was the movie and it was Dr. Facilier and, dig a little deeper with Mama Odie. So I don't know if this new story is going to work out so well. I did see a CGI clip that they showed at a media event of the ride, and it looked great. A little piece of it. And the animatronic for Lewis, the alligator with the, the horn or the trumpet he's using, it moved like those new animatronics from Beauty and the Beast, and it was articulated. Looked beautiful. What do you think?
I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. As long as they have characters that we know and love from the movie, I think it'll be a hit. We just need to see really where the storyline goes within the ride. Because like how we said last week, I think that ride is paced very well, like that track already.
Yeah.
So I think that'll give them time to really bring the story across. So I think it'll be good. And at this point, Pecos can honestly go. Doesn't have the toppings bar anymore. So if they were to retheme that to something,
Tiana's Foods, I guess.
I would be okay with that.
I do believe there is a Tiana TV show coming out that has Nikanani Rose reprising the voice of Tiana in it. I think maybe they talked about that at D23 or something like that. But anyway, I think it's just the typical Disney thing. Like they over-explain a story that when we go on the attraction, it's just it'll make sense to us, but it will just be like stuff where you're like, I don't think I needed that many words for what you're showing. Like I think about when Disney Springs opened and how much story there was put into that, and I was just like, I was like, not even the most intense person. This will get lost in history, and that's sort of the thing is I think when they write enough backstory, they feel like it gives it that solid or, that more solid foundation sort of a thing. But it's not the first attraction to be a sequel because, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy takes place after the second movie. And that opened before, there is no third movie yet. So that opened before we ever saw them again. Frozen Ever After, that takes place after Frozen. So
that's true.
It's really not uncommon for an attraction to not be the story of the movie, but still have the characters. I just think we live in a day and age where I think they just throw as many words out related to something as they can to hope it stick and SEO and all that stuff. But I look forward to it. I think it'll be fun. I like Tiana. I like Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, I wonder how the ascension up and then the drop is going to tie into this. How they're going to get it. To maybe you only get that ingredient if you fall fast. I don't know, but I really hope they find a good way to put it all together.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have faith.
Yeah, I'm sad we're not going to see Dr. Facilier because he's dead.
Did they say that he definitely wasn't going to be in there?
They did not say that, no, but because it's
he's got friends on the other side.
He doesn't seem to fit into this story, though.
No, but I wonder if there'll be like a sort of nod to him somewhere or something like that. But I'd love to get David Keith's.
I keep thinking of going up that chain with "Are you ready?" Right, with the cards, and you're ready, and then you drop down, and then it's into celebration. But I know they're not going to do that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you're right. I've seen the movie. I know he's like pulled away and stuff like that.
If Mama Odie ain't singing somewhere, I know she probably can't because it's all new music. I think. I don't think she's going to sing "Dig a Little Deeper." It's got to be something else. I hope. I just need a Mama Odie animatronic.
The ride is like 15 minutes long.
It is a long ride.
So I don't think it's just one song the whole time.
There's going to have to be different music.
But I think it's new, so I hope Mama Odie gets a new song.
I'm just saying I'm trying to think about how it's like, how it was done when it was Splash Mountain. It wasn't just Zippity Doodah.
No, because you had Laughing Place.
Most of it was Laughing Place and Zippity Doodah, yeah.
Laughing Place.
Was there any others? I think it's only those two.
What's the song they're singing at the end when they're all celebrating? Was that Zippity Doodah?
Oh, that's Zippity Doodah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. I'm excited for Tiana.
The whole thing.
Here's the thing. It's happening. I don't care. I hate to say it. Whether we're excited or not, it's still going to happen.
Oh, I'm excited. I just don't. I have to give up the original story and see what this new one is. Mm-hmm. And I'm worried. I'm just worried that we're not going to get a lot of the originals.
I think it's just going to be one of those things where they're going to keep saying story, 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 story. And we're going to go on it and be like, it's like when someone gives you a 2,000-page essay when you just needed a 4-sentence log line.
With Tron, they don't do that, and we'll get to that. Oh. I don't know the story. I have no. And I wrote
Have you never seen Tron?
No.
Oh my God,
I think I've watched the movie, but I don't remember. It was.
You think you've watched the movie?
When I was
there's
baby,
two of them.
The first one.
There's two, and this is definitely aesthetically based on the second one.
I didn't see the second one. Okay. So
okay.
That makes sense. But with Guardian, we'll get to that though, because we got to talk about that. New Disney character appearances at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Goofy in a fun vest and Max Goof in Powerline costume meet and greet on Grand Avenue near the entrance to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I know that Rhino is thrilled that Max is there. Am I correct?
Oh, I have a picture with him.
See,
me too. I was so excited.
I know these things. Mr. and Mrs. Incredible meet and greet near Echo Lake. Please tell me they are not the face character.
No face character.
Oh, good.
The plastic.
Frozone and Edna Mode pop-up on Hollywood Boulevard. Grassy areas just beyond the buildings as you enter the park and make your way to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I almost read that as gassy, and I thought that Frozone and Edna were gassy. Clarice is supposed to be part of the Chippendale pop-ups. That's great for a limited time, but to our knowledge, she hasn't shown up yet. I love Clarice.
I haven't seen. I was with. I mean, Craig was there obviously a lot earlier than me, but I went that same day that Craig was there when he filmed the characters and stuff, and we waited for Clarice. No Clarice.
She was there during a DVC Moonlight Magic, and it literally looked like one of the chipmunks just got into drag, and I was like, "What is going on?" Okay, so getting back to what we were talking about, TRON Lightcycle Run. I rode it yesterday. I liked it. I might have loved it. If it was next to Guardians of the Galaxy, I would never go on it again. I would only go to Guardians. But since it's in another park, I think it fits well. It was fast. And what I mean by fast is it was zippy. It felt, the launch and everything felt faster than I thought. If I wrote an article that's on the Diz about size inclusivity, I had to use the back seat. I didn't even try to do the straddling forward with the knees, but I wrote a whole article on it. If you get a chance and read that, it's pretty cool. But the back seat was fine. It's a special, it was like an Expedition Everest back seat. But the ride is over in it felt like, you take off, you go around a little bit outside. When I mean a little bit, like maybe 20 seconds outside, and then it might be 60 seconds inside and done. Beautiful inside, gorgeous. But if I waited 2 hours for it, I would be like, wow. And I don't know the story. I have no idea. Like Guardians, even if you didn't know the movie, they go through lengths to set up that story of what's going on. I'm saving the world. I'm helping Rocket. Tron, I don't know what I did in the grid.
I think you're just racing, aren't you? Aren't you just going into the grid to be Team Blue and then race the Team Orange?
I guess so. And I think Orange crashes and dies, or we beat them. Something happens at the end of that. It was fun.
You should really watch Tron
I
Legacy.
will watch.
Do you have a big TV? Nice sound?
Yes.
Okay, because that's why I won't watch it at my house, really, because I'm like, no, I don't have the proper equipment here. But I love Tron Legacy. The soundtrack alone by Daft Punk is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. And that's what they're playing outside of the ride, right? Because that was great.
I haven't been yet, so I don't know.
Okay, I think it's that because everybody's saying that.
I got to assume it is, or a variation of, because in the television, the Tron television show, it wasn't Daft Punk, but it was meant to kind of sound like that. So I was worried that they weren't going to be playing the actual songs from the movie, but I don't know. The score, I mean.
Under the Canopy, people were saying this is the music from the movie, and they were loving it. It was great.
It's probably de-rezzled.
It was awesome. Speaking of which, you can also go visit that Canopy area, even if you're not riding the ride. You can't get to the part where you load, but you can see the car going around, and you can see the lights. I haven't seen it at night yet. I think it's going to be fantastic at night.
Oh,
probably
yeah.
a much better ride at
Mike
night.
has reviews at night.
I haven't done it yet,
Excited.
but hoping to this week, I think.
We're supposed to go on the
I think on Thursday night. But that's what I couldn't remember this morning when I was supposed to do Thursday, and I was but there it is. From the videos I've seen of people, I try not to look too much because I still want to be have an element of surprise, but the canopy and what it does over there just looks so cool, and it looks like it's just aesthetically a great fit for that area of Tomorrowland. I am excited for merchandise.
The fact that you can see the peak of Space Mountain from under the canopy and the Contemporary across the way, it all ties in really, really strong. Really. The fact that the train goes underneath it, I love. The whole, and you're there at Tron and you hear, ooh, ooh, you hear the train, it's like, wow, the steam engine train from, I don't know, 1920 or the 18, whenever it was built, and then this futuristic thing. It's pretty cool.
It's one of my favorite things is the collision of stuff like that when that can happen in a park, because it was I was at Disneyland walking into Galaxy's Edge and the train was going around and then the the riverboat was going through the Mark Twain. I don't know. I get them mixed up. And then people were in the things doing, but then I see people with the lightsabers. I was like, this is so cool. I love the collision of time. Yep. I know other people are like,
no.
the thing and the theming. And I'm like, I don't know. I think this is where else in the world can you be in the past, present, and future?
The only thing that would have made it better is if the People Mover went directly under the canopy so that you can pass through and see
that would
the
be
coaster.
Cool.
That would have been amazing. I know it would have been a lot of money, but that would have been great. There are also great restrooms right there at
Thank God.
Tron. I thought that was good. Erica, you know about something coming to the Hyperion Theater in Disneyland?
I do. Let me put my reading eyes on. So, I've never been to this park at all, but this is what houses the Frozen show currently, correct?
Well, it's not. It hasn't played since COVID, I don't believe.
So, fun times. There is going to be a new limited time show coming to the Hyperion Theater at Disney's California Adventure Park. According to a new casting call for dancers posted on the Disney Audition website, a new limited run musical is coming to that theater. The musical is described in the post as an exciting new Broadway caliber theatrical production, but that's all we know for now. The listing states that the additional details will be announced soon, so keep an eye out for that. And all entries for the audition must be submitted by February 26th. There are several roles they're looking for. They're looking for three female identifying roles that are in their 20s to 50s, that can harmonize and that they can sing in different styles, from like Destiny's Child to Andrew's Sisters, and act as an occasional Greek chorus, which makes me believe something Hercules is happening.
Muses.
Yeah, it makes me think something like that is happening. They're also looking for a female identifying from the 20s to early 30s who is brave, resourceful, intelligent, and has a very strong English accent. They're also looking for a male identifying age like 17 to 20, so someone young who is coming into greatness.
Oh my God!
Makes me think of Hercules.
I'm going right now.
Yeah, go.
I identify as 17.
Yes, you look not a day over
Thank
17.
You. Thank you.
And then they're also looking for an older male, like in the 30s to 40s, someone who's decisive, capable, has a good sense of humor. So all of this that I'm reading leads me to think that something is happening to do with Hercules, probably some more characters involved also. So I think it'll be a fun show. We're going to get details soon on what it should be. I guess once auditions are fully submitted, they'll tell us more.
Okay.
But yeah.
And Rhino, I know you had something. Was it
Yeah, mine is very, very quick. It is that the walking path between Grand Floridian and Magic Kingdom is going to be closed temporarily beginning February 13th and is expected to open later in the spring. And I believe that is because they are doing the boat monorail transportation is going to remain available there, but I believe it's because they are continuing some refurbishments with the rooms at the Grand Floridian. So just something to keep in mind because I like to walk on paths.
Why would room refurbishments at the Grand Floridian?
They could have scaffolding up near the thing or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's important to, I think, know, because when you walk from the Polynesian, you have to walk through the Grand Floridian, I believe. So I think it affects that pathway.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, because normally I just walk out because it feels like it's so much faster than waiting. But I don't know. Also the steps. I need the steps. But just keep it in mind if you're going there.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today and dealing with just the three of us. Which I thought we would not have enough to talk about, but apparently we ran good.
Well, remember we started a few minutes late and the audio was messed up.
That's okay. I think we still did about an hour, which is pretty good. I hope you guys come and join us for the Patreon show. If you are not a Patreon member, any tier, patreon.com/DizUnplugged will get you to the Patreon after show. Reminder about dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Go book a trip, support us, help us. Thank you. Let's see. What else? That's it. For Pete's sake, stay out of the damn lakes. Thank you, guys.